Hi everyone, I'm Miss Kristin and I'm a children's librarian at Dorchester Road Regional Library. For today's art program, we'll be learning about the artist Yayoi Kusama. First, I'll tell you a little bit about her art and her life. Then I'll be recommending some books that we have at CCPL. And then together we will make an art project inspired by one of her works. So to start with, let's learn about the artist. Yayoi Kusama is a contemporary artist known for her sculptures and art installations. She's also known for performance art and painting as well, and she's often associated with the pop art movement. So some of those terms might have been new for you. If you're not sure what some of them mean, I am going to explain a few of them. So an art installation, if you've never seen one before, is a type of art where you transform an entire space. So instead of having art that is only on a canvas or sculpted into shapes, it fills an entire room and is a kind of experience instead of just something that you look at. So I will be showing you an example of what one of Yayoi Kusama's art installations looks like to help you understand what that means a little bit more. The other term I used, performance art, if you haven't heard of that before, it's a type of art that's more of an event. Yayoi Kusama called her performance art happenings, and they can really be anything. Sometimes performance art can be painting dots on people, which is something that Yayoi Kusama did. There have also been for performance artists who did something as simple as sitting in a chair and just looking at another person. So there's a lot of different performance art out there, but it's usually something that's more active and it's not traditional. It's not the type of thing that we think of hanging on a gallery wall. It's more of an event or an activity. And the last term I'm going to explain is pop art. So pop art was a movement that came out of the United Kingdom, and it was a response to more traditional art forms where they decided to use popular images, so things that people didn't think were art. One of the greatest examples of pop art was the artist Andy Warhol, who created art based on soup can labels. So with Yayoi Kusama, her dots are usually what people associate with being part of the pop art movement. So now that we've learned more about her artwork, we'll learn a little more about her life and how she became an artist. Yayoi Kusama was born in Japan. Her family owned a nursery, and it was there, inspired by the flowers and plants and colors around her, that she was inspired to become an artist. She attended art school in Japan, but was told she needed to paint in a more traditional Japanese style. She decided that she wanted to paint in her own way, and at the age of 28, she moved to New York to become an artist. Once she was there, she spent as much time as she could making her art. She even reached out to an American artist named Georgia O'Keeffe for advice on how to become a great artist. And Georgia O'Keeffe not only gave her advice, but she also helped her meet art dealers and helped her get her work in a gallery, and was a big part of her becoming the artist she is today. So now Yayoi Kusama's work has been featured all over the world, from places like New York to Venice. Her installations have really become well known, and her artwork is very interesting and unique. So I'm going to recommend a few books for you where you could learn more about her and more about other artists in general. And the first book I'm recommending is called Yayoi Kusama Covered Everything in Dots and Wasn't Sorry. And it's written by Fausto Gilberti, and it has in it a really great example of her installation art and the dot style that she used. So I'm going to let you take a look at this. So this art installation is called All the Eternal Love I Have for the Pumpkins. And it was made with acrylic pumpkins, LED lighting, black glass, mirrors, wood, and metal. So this is an entire room. And this is an example of an art installation. The second book I'm going to recommend for you is called Yayoi Kusama, From Here to Infinity. It is by Sarah Suzuki, illustrated by Ellen Weinstein, and it's actually published by the Museum of Modern Art in New York. And this one has some really great examples of her installation art as well. So here is one that again shows her dots and the installation art style. And that one was called The Obliteration Room. And this next one is the one that is the inspiration for our art project today. And this one is called Infinity Mirrored Room, The Souls of Millions of Light Years Away. And I think this one looks a little bit like you're standing in the middle of the night sky, surrounded by stars. So our art project today is that we'll be making our own star projector. And if you can find yourself a dark room and a flashlight, then you can use the star projector to make kind of a mini installation room of your very own. The next two books I'm going to recommend before we start on our art project are We Are Artists, Women Who Made Their Mark on the World by Carrie Herbert, and Women in Art, 50 Fearless Creatives Who Inspired the World, written and illustrated by Rachel Ignatovsky. These books are both about different women artists. They both have a chapter about Yayoi Kusama, but they're also a great way to learn about other artists, other art forms, other art styles, and see what other art you like that's out there. So now that we've learned about Yayoi Kusama and her style of art, we're going to get started on our star projector. So the first kind of most important thing you'll need is some sort of tube or cylinder that has a lid on it. So I'm using an oatmeal can. I've heard of people using peanut cans for this. If you got one that is this shape, that'll work too. The main thing is you need this shape and you need a lid. So once you have this, you're also going to need a cereal box. So I flattened mine because we're going to trace and cut out a shape on it. So once you've got your cereal box ready, go ahead and flatten yours out too. And I'm going to take my lid here and I'm going to pop out this piece that's already in there. And the reason we're doing that is that this piece of cardboard is just a little too thick. And it's not going to work for the project we're doing. So I'm going to pop mine out if I can. There we go. You might have to rip it. Mine does not want to come off too easily, but there we go. So hopefully you haven't ripped yours, because we are going to have to trace them. If you did, that's okay. We can trace this top wide part as well. So I've got a pencil and I'm going to set this piece down on my cereal box and just trace a circle around it. Okay, so this is my circle. I'm going to go ahead and use some scissors and cut out my circle. once you've got your cardboard circle, the next thing we're going to do is decide what to put on it. So this cardboard is going to go in this lid. And then we are going to poke a hole in the bottom of our package. So for me, it's my oatmeal can. For you, it might be something else. So I'm just going to use a pencil and poke it through. What we're eventually going to do is put a flashlight up against this hole. So the hole doesn't have to be very big, and you can always make it small and then make it a bigger hole later if you need it, if it doesn't seem like enough light is getting through. But I'm going to start with about that size. And what we'll do at the very end is we will add some shapes to, sorry about that, my dog hears something. I think she's done. We're going to add some shapes and figures to our cardboard, put it in our lid, put everything back together, find a dark room, and then shine a light through the back of the oatmeal can. And that is going to be how we do our art installation. So when the light hits the back of the can, it's going to go through the shapes that we poked in here and create some lit up figures on the wall. So because it's a sky projector, what people normally do with these is they do constellations. But this is also an art project, so you can do this any way you want to. You can do a bunch of dots, kind of do a Yayoi Kusama style art. You could do a shape, maybe a heart or one big star, or you can do a constellation. If you do decide to do a constellation, we've included a link to a free star map in the description of this video. So you can go there and see which constellations are out in the sky right now to get some ideas. Or if you have any kind of night sky or star chart at home, you can use those. I have one, it's the Audubon guide that I'll be using to pick out a constellation. So since we don't have a very big space, I think I'm going to start with something simple. So let me find a good constellation. So I think here's a really easy one. This one is called Leo Minor. It is only 3 stars. It's that one, just 3 stars and a little line. So I'm going to try that one. But again, you can make any constellation you want because this is your art project. So what I'm going to do, you don't even have to do a constellation actually, you can just do shapes. So what I'll do first is I'm going to draw my circles on here in the shape that I want them. Make them nice and big so I can see them. So those are my dots. And then I'm actually going to use a pen this time because this cardboard feels a little thick. So I've got a pen and I'm just going to carefully poke. That's not good. I don't have a pen anymore, so I'm going to go back to my pencil. I'm going to poke holes with my pencil. And if you're nervous about doing this part or it's hard to get your pencil through, just ask a grown-up for help. That's okay. So I've got, there we go. Got my holes poked in, and then I'm just going to squeeze this into my lid. If it seems like your cardboard piece is a little bit too big, I think mine might be, you can always just trim it down and take off some more cardboard. There we go. All right, just gonna make My hole's a little bit bigger now that my cardboard is in the lid. There you go. I'll make sure that my constellation is easy to see. So now that I've got all my cardboard together, this is what it looks like. Got my 3 dots. And all I'm gonna do is take my can, pop the lid back on, and then all I'll need to do is take a flashlight, point it to the hole in the back, point this straight at a wall in a dark room, and it'll look like there are stars on the wall. And your projector will look however you made it. So that's our art program today. I hope that you learned something new and you're inspired to make some art and a star projector of your own. If you do decide to share, if you do decide to make the star projector, I hope you'll share what you make yours look like in the comments on this video. Maybe share a picture or just say what shapes or constellations you decided to use. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you all again soon. Bye.